Washing spinach. Onion. All right. How does it say to do the onion? Slice. Cool. I'm going to get my mandolin. Extra virgin olive oil, and yes, it does make a difference. I'm going to put this in now, in the pan now. Because I'm going to slice the onions and throw them straight in there, and then I don't have to waste a plate and let the onions just sit there while I clean and chop everything else up. I'm using purple onion. Half. Oh, trash can bowl. How could I forget the trash can bowl? Oh, let's fix this camera too. Hold on. Ah, that's what's bothering me. I'm seeing under it. Let me move it down. Ah, much better on the eyes. It was creating an illusion. Hey, by the way. Ooh, my G Fuel code is 30% off for the next few days. So check it out. Okay, half an onion. Nice bowl for a trash can. I know. Why don't you put the garbage in the trash? It's just easier to not walk back and forth while you're preparing stuff to the trash can. And then you don't get onion skin all over your floor in the process. If you're just joining, this is Secret Sauce, my cooking stream. And ooh, these are already making my eyes water. Onion is deceptively unhealthy. Get out of here with that fake news. Onions are one of the best things for you. Look at that. I gotta take that off. I don't remember which setting this was on. Cry me a river. Okay, so if you're just joining, I'm making squid with spinach. It's a recipe inspired by the island of Crete in Greece. I'm going to start with like preparing the onions and spinach first. Even more, okay. Be very careful if you use a mandolin. It's serious business. I don't always use this when I use the mandolin, but it's a pretty small onion, so it's necessary. Look at that. Perfect. Perfect. Ah, yes. The only thing that's not perfect about using a mandolin, but it's still good enough. I mean, it's better than the alternative of me trying to slice that thin by hand, is you always have some left over that you have to slice by hand. Oh my goodness. My eyes. Ah! Whew. Whew. Okay. Why is she crying? Spectre86, Wolf Mayers, thank you for the Prime subs, you guys. Welcome to my stream. The Hunter 87265, thank you for the tier 1. Welcome. Squish those cry juices. Okay, so we did half of an onion and now 2 scallions or green onions. Some cultures use only the green. Some cultures use only the white. Some use the entire thing. I'm using the entire thing. And actually, this actually says to use both specifically, if you care about that. Straight into the pan. Ooh, I need to sharpen this knife. Okay, so it says to saute the onions looking at when the spinach goes in. Okay, spinach is very last, so you let the squid actually cook for a while before you add the spinach. But since I don't want to wash my cutting board twice, basis, but since the pandemic began, it's been really difficult to find good quality fish of any kind, including squid. And today was actually the first day I felt confident in buying fish, other than shrimp, which you could find pretty good shrimp frozen, so I don't count that. Okay, so let me... Even the salmon has been looking nasty, so I haven't been eating any salmon. I really miss it. Let me wash this off and I'll be right back. juice, squid water dropping all over my floor, dripping all over my floor. So I carried it with the butcher paper. Ugh. All right, so this recipe actually says to look for smaller squid. And why does it say that? It says try to buy the smaller ones as they're generally more tender than larger squid. So sometimes you'll see a big squid that is used for like stuffing. Those types of recipes where you bake the squid. In this case, we wanted these little ones like this. You could also technically stuff these, it's just not as common. These also came with the tentacles, which, yum, I love. And I've never made this recipe before. First time on Secret Sauce. I typically make squid with tomatoes and herbs and stuff like that, and then I either eat it with bread or as a pasta. So while I start chopping these up or slicing these, I'm gonna start the fire on the onions with extra virgin olive oil. It doesn't say to add salt, but I'm gonna add a little. Okay, so now we slice these in half, I think. Yeah, slice in half. Come on, keep it pretty. Keep it pretty for me. Okay. And then into strips. And usually when I cook squid, I don't... Oh, you guys can't really see that, huh? Let me move this. That's better. I don't cut it into strips, I cut it into circles, like the way you're used to seeing it with fried calamari. If you've eaten fried calamari but you've never cooked squid or calamari, this is basically how it begins. And then you just cut it like this horizontally, and then you get those rings. And if anybody is curious, this is 1 pound of squid. Stir the onions. I love this smell. Onions sauteing. going to turn that down just a little bit because this squid is going to take a while to slice up. And I wonder if I should use this knife. Yeah, this knife is better. Look at that. Oh, much better. Oh no! There will be some lemon in this. Yeah, I definitely need to sharpen the knife. I agree. Actually, I'm gonna get a new knife soon. Because I spoiled myself with this one for Christmas. It's amazing. So it's time to upgrade my chef's knife now. This one has gotten me through many years. But now I've had a taste for the good life. This is a really funny way to cook it. I almost wish, or slice it, I almost wish I would have done the rings anyways. But hey, trying something new. All right. A sharp tongue can cut near anything. Oof. This knife is killing me. Killing me. There's gotta be a better way. There's gotta be a better way. Alright, let me try it this way instead. Ooh, yeah. Flipping it over made a difference. It's easier to slice with the inside facing you. sometimes you still feel. I'm making sure there's like nothing inside. All right. There we go. Little hard part that I want to remove. This piece is a little bit meh. It doesn't feel as fresh as the other pieces. Okay, I'm going to turn the onions off because this is taking a while to chop up or to slice. Downside of being one of the best knives, are pretty expensive, upward of 80 per knife. Yeah. Sometimes you have to upgrade, especially if you cook a lot. So that was my first. That paring knife was my first upgrade. Rebel Soko, Lovely Naga, thank you for the prime subs, you guys. Welcome. Junglist Gamer, thank you for the tier 1 14 months. Twisted Moon, thank you for the tier 1. The Target, thank you for the tier 1. Welcome. Welcome to my streams, you guys. I do play games. I do. I play games and I do Secret Sauce as often as I can. It's been like once a week for the most part the last month or so. I've been doing cooking streams since last year. I took a break for like a month back in June because I broke my toe. You guys see that all right? Yes. That's what's important. Can see it. Ugh. Ugh. Almost looks like dumplings. The show yesterday was really fun. Thanks for asking. Last night was another episode of Gray Area. It was our 4th episode with Sherry Cola, and she's a hilarious actress, comedian, writer. It was really fun having her on. And tomorrow we have Russell Peters on the show. So, just saying, if you guys have any questions, want advice, please send an email to askgrayarea@ven.tv, or you can also join the Ven Discord where you can talk with the producers. So we would love to hear from you. You can send in, you can do audio calls or video calls. And sometimes we have time for emails, but it just depends on how the episode is going, if we have time for it. Can you wink? Oh, you must be new here. I'm wink disabled. So a lot of people were asking me to do Greek food, but specifically moussaka. I love moussaka, but man, it's hot right now. It's really hot. It's the middle of the summer. It's a really heavy dish. So I decided to look at some other recipes and figure out, like, let's still do something Greek, but something that's Maybe a little bit better suited for the summer. I'm looking at this though, and I can already tell you this is why it's good to experiment on your own. I want more onions than what I'm seeing. The squid to onion ratio, I want way more onions. I would have used a whole onion. Some of these pieces are still attached. Okay, so now the heat is at a medium, more or less. And I think I'm gonna wash my hands, and I'm gonna add the onion. I'm gonna add a little more onion. Alright, I'm turning the heat up even higher than that now. Because this is going to release a lot of moisture. So we can cook it on high for the first few minutes. Ooh, and it's smelling good. It is smelling good. The Julienne Society. What the heck? I'm gonna have to Meows just sent me something on Discord. I'm gonna have to look at it later. Onions are a metaphor. Zilu, Reezer33, A Winter Night. Thank you for the Prime subs, you guys. What's up? Welcome to my stream. This is Secret Sauce. I try to do Secret Sauce as often as possible. I've been doing it about once a week lately, and I also play games the rest of the time. So, today we're cooking squid with spinach. It's a recipe inspired by the island of Crete in Greece. A lot of people were asking me to do Greek food on a stream, specifically moussaka. It's the summertime. It's blistering hot outside. Moussaka is really heavy. I don't feel like making that. I would rather wait till the fall to make that. And let's see. I did look up a recipe, though, for a vegetable moussaka, which I thought, maybe I'll try that soon because it's a little less heavy. This smells so good already. And we've not even added any seasoning yet. Just onions, green onions, salt, and squid, and extra virgin olive oil. And if you've never had moussaka, moussaka is a Greek dish. How could you describe it? It's like a cross between a lasagna or a casserole, eggplant or aubergine. If you don't know what eggplant is, aubergine. And bechamel sauce, ground meat. So, as you can imagine, ground meat, bechamel, all those ingredients. Pretty heavy right now. I've made parmigiana on stream, actually, and it turned out so good. I would make it again. This olive oil, I've been olive oil deprived lately because of the pandemic. So I can't get the ones I usually use. This is from, don't tell my dead grandpa. It's from Tuscany, from Firenze. That's you haunted. Kalamata olive oil is good, but it's like it's pretty strong, so pretty. I would use it for specific dishes. Yes, my book is available as an audiobook. All right, we need. All right, 1 second. Standby and water. Water, 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 water. How much water? Why hot water? Okay, it says hot water specifically. Let me see. Pour this. Oh, I see. Some people are really specific in their recipes. It says to add hot water, obviously, so you don't slow down the cooking and add cold water to something that is going. I'm sure if you're at like a 5-star restaurant and you're pressed for time, that really matters. If you had like one of those quick electric kettles, you could do it because it's quick, but I'm not going to boil water right now to add water to this dish. It's not that necessary. Okay. Now we're going to add, let's see. How much water? Not a whole lot. I will use, though, some room temperature filtered water. There we go. All right. So we're going to add, hold up. Spiny. Okay. So it's starting to turn color. It's looking good. Some cooking wine. Let it evaporate just a little bit. Everybody's fighting about what kind of dish moussaka is. Well, you're all spelling it wrong. That's what I could say. I love how people love to fight about different foods, but it was actually pretty interesting when I posted the empanada video. People from all over the world are saying like, "Oh, in my country we call it this. In my country we call it this." So, I'm sure that your country might have something similar. But let's definitely not get in the argument about hummus, okay? That's a very dangerous argument. Things can get violent. We're not talking about Mufasa or the Lion King. Those are fighting words. He said hummus is dirt. Hummus is not dirt. Alright, now we're going to add some water. About a third a cup of water. I didn't add hot water, but I did add filtered room temperature water. And I'm putting my pepper grinder has different settings. So I'm going to put it on a really coarse setting for the black pepper. Stir it up. I'm sure I've made that joke about 1,000 times now during my cooking streams. I mean, joke. I'm sure I sang that. It's not a joke, is it? Alright, so now it says cover the pan. I don't have a cover big enough for this pan, and usually when I make my squid with tomatoes, I don't cover it either. But for sake of like trying to follow a recipe, which I don't always do, yeah, no. This is the closest thing. It actually is not half bad. As long as the plastic handle on this doesn't melt. Okay, not bad. Kind of worked. Alright, I'm gonna wash this because there's squid all over it. I don't want this sitting out and getting rotten. So give me a minute, I'll be right back. my dishes. Ah. Saw a little bit of leftover soap on that. So it says to let it simmer for like 30 minutes. While that's happening, we can prepare some bread. I've not been eating a lot of bread either, so this is going to taste really good. Because in the summertime, I get full really easily, but then I eat more often. So I eat smaller meals, but more often. And a lot of healthy snacks. Chino, 1999, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Welcome to my streams. George Gardiakos, thank you for the gifted tier 3 stub to Dark Op. Astra the Super Mage, thank you for the tier 1 9 months. Thank you. Did you finish The Witcher? Hilarious. Man cannot live by bread alone, but I'm trying. Do I have a place where I have all my recipes? I don't, but if you guys would really like me to do it, one of these days, I can start archiving them on my website, maybe. I have been for the past couple weeks uploading edits of my cooking streams for YouTube, so they're shortened versions after the fact. But then you don't get to hang out and chat, so it's not technically the same. Do I ever eat takeout? I talk about this a lot on my streams whenever we do cooking streams or whenever we're talking about food. I don't eat takeout a lot for a few reasons. One, I do love cooking. Two, I feel like by the time it gets to my house, it's always cold. It never tastes the same. Things are sticking to cartons. You always overpay, and I'm just left kind of unsatisfied. So I really don't order takeout that often. I feel like Indian food is one of the few that stays pretty good for takeout. One, because it's not a cuisine that I necessarily cook, but two, a lot of the dishes are curry based, and so they stay hot, but it's not like getting a chicken breast to go or like fried chicken to go where it just starts to get all soggy. I'm not breading the squid. No, not at all. Chinese takeout, it's kind of the same though. Like, by the time it gets to you, it's never as good as when you go even to Chinese fast food and sit down and eat it. Well, that's the other thing, Jay Chosen, like, actually cooking your own food, you know what's in it. So yeah, at the end of the day, it is healthier. Thanks, Sad. What's up? I love green curry. I've only made it once. I don't know why I don't do more curries. I think maybe because like this time of the year it's just too hot anyways. Something I do, it's kind of a fake curry. I mean, it's like an invention. I'll do with chicken, chicken, curry powder, coconut milk, tomatoes. Ooh, that's good. But even that I don't make during this time of the year. It's too hot. How old were you when I first started cooking food? I was always in the kitchen. I think that's like my best memory of being a kid when my parents were actually still together, was being in the kitchen with them as they were cooking. So they always gave the kids a task, like do this, do this, do this, right? And then when my parents split, kind of the same thing. Going to my dad's house was like, oh, I get to eat good this weekend. And I don't know, I think as I got older, I just wanted to learn more how to do it on my own and really understanding like the quality of food. I didn't grow up with a lot of variety. Well, I take that back. I was lucky enough to grow up in a really multicultural neighborhood, so I did have variety from a young age, but let's say like in terms of high quality produce or meat or seafood, that wasn't something that we really got. So as I got older, I started to understand like the quality is really what matters. You can have a really simple dish, but if the quality is good, it's going to make a world of difference. And my mom kind of like me, I feel like she got better at cooking as we got older, actually. What's going on in the pan? Squid and spinach is what we're doing. The spinach has not been added. It's a recipe inspired by Crete. So while that's going, I'm going to check it really quick. Oh, we're good. I'm going to start the bread. Most difficult recipe I've ever done, probably the white chocolate raspberry souffle. Oh man, that was difficult. On stream it was a fail, but later that night I tried it again because I had leftovers, and I cooked it for my dessert that night, and it came out the right way. But I didn't like it. I didn't really like it. I wasn't a fan. So this is, making small amounts. This is a weird time of day. So I'm going to make a very modest 3 slices of bread because this is like dinner for some people. Once we're actually done with this, it'll be dinner for some people. I don't eat till later in the night, so I don't want to get full. I'm just going to snack it. Actually, yeah. There's no butter going on this bread, man. Where do I usually get my recipes from? Where do I? Yeah, usually online. This is actually a cookbook I have. But usually online. And I try new things a lot for secret sauce. And one thing that I can say is that, especially if you're trying a new recipe, it's always good to kind of read and compare different versions and see what you think you might like according to your own palate. No, we're not putting butter on the bread because we're making squid with spinach. This requires olive oil. Am I making bruschetta? It's not, I mean, it's kind of starting that way, but not ending that way. A Lazy Pirate, thank you for the tier 1 5 months of my most stable relationship. Sir Duke Nukem, thank you for the tier 1 16 months. Thank you so much, you guys. Welcome, Raiders. If you're just joining, I am making squid with spinach. It's a recipe inspired by the island of Crete in Greece. Do I eat late for breakfast too? No, because I'm usually starving when I wake up. But I hate breakfast. It's such a waste of time. So I usually have coffee and like a protein smoothie or coffee and eggs and some fruit. Squiditch. Call it Squiditch now. Favorite coffee? I love black coffee. I cut sugar out of my coffee a year and a half ago. It sucked. It was the worst thing ever at first. But I'm really glad I did it because I drink coffee every day. So it was good to cut out that sugar. It's also why I like G Fuel, because G Fuel is sugar free. And if you're drinking coffee each day, like, take the sugar out. Just try. So at the beginning, it was very difficult, even actually for the flavor, even though I love the taste of coffee. So I was drinking it with milk or almond milk. And then once I got used to not having any sugar in my coffee, then I cut out all milks on top of it. And occasionally I'll still have milk in a coffee, but it's more like a dessert at that point. It's like a treat because it's so heavy. Every time you try to cut sugar from your diet, you feel like crap. Yeah, because it's freaking addictive, man. It sucks. I had the worst headaches for like, the first month was terrible. Like, just forget about it. But the first 2 weeks were really hell. Should you get a coffee maker and start testing out blends? I make my coffee, I have like just a cheap coffee grinder. So I get whole beans. I grind it every morning. And then I use a stovetop mocha pot. And that's how I do my coffee every day. Somebody from chat sent me a Greek coffee pot. I'll show you. And this needs more liquid. Where'd my cup go? Ah, here. I heard it. I was like, it sounds a little dry. Sounds a little dry. Shake it, 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 shake it. Okay, that's good. Cast iron bare-handed, bad news. It's a wood handle. It's all good. Anyways, we were talking about coffee. Oh. Here you go. My Greek coffee pot. I've been having, not every day, but I've been having this occasionally now in the middle of the day. Like one shot espresso style. But if you've ever had Greek coffee, Turkish coffee, Middle Eastern coffee, the sediment is at the bottom. And it makes for a really dark coffee. I love it. And even when I make my coffee with the mocha pot in the morning, it's really dense. I love dense coffee. Do you feel better since you stopped consuming sugar or no difference? I feel it's probably not worth the effort unless you remove it from everything. I disagree, and I'll tell you why. I did feel a huge difference eventually. I don't crash from coffee now. I was crashing because of the sugar. And I just think, like, if you have, like, for me, I love coffee. If I'm drinking it every day, I just wanted to cut the sugar out of it because I was having it every day. It's not like I was having it once a week. Then I wouldn't mind it. Find your sugar in fruit, stuff like that. So that's what I do. It's not like I cut it out completely, but I also don't eat tons of desserts and things like that. So when I do have them, I don't feel guilty. I love it. I tried. I failed. So, little trick. I tried to pick it up with my bare hands. It didn't work. Just take fresh garlic. Ah, it's hot. Okay. Garlic. And then you flip it back over and cook the opposite side. And this is how Italians do bruschetta. They don't actually chop the garlic and put it in the tomato mix. They do it on the bread. But you can still cheat and add more. Sometimes I do. Because I just love garlic. Techno Chronos, thank you for the Prime sub. What's up? Welcome. Korean Thunder, thank you for a tier 1 gifted sub. Epic Assassin, thank you for the tier 1. Welcome, you guys. Thanks so much. What do I prefer, garlic or onions? Dude, that's a question I can never answer. I love them both. I use them both all the time. Alright. I'm going to turn this down a little. And actually, I'm going to taste this. We still have like about 6 minutes left. It said to cook it for 30 before adding the spinach, but we've added a second round of water and I feel like we're probably safe to add the spinach. Oh, we're definitely safe to add the spinach. And salt more salt. I'm definitely glad I added the second half of that onion. It wasn't that much salt, and it's pink Himalayan salt, which is like way less potent than table salt. Hot, 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 ha, hot. The volume of raw to cooked spinach is depressing. What do you mean? Like, by the time you cook it, there's hardly any there? Okay, so the bread is still good, but because I could have taken it out a little bit earlier, before I turned it, it looks a little undercooked. Trust me, it's not. More garlic, and now look at it. Looks burned, but it's not because of this camera. This camera, the lighting on this camera is really off. And a little oil while it's still hot. Olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, please. Thank you. It's looking good, man. It's looking good. This is really interesting. I never would have thought to mix spinach with squid. Alright, put a little salt on the bread. Rip Squidward. Algo4 felt to you. Thank you for the Prime sub. Welcome. Am I testing out recipes or do I just know how to cook personally as in a home chef? So on Secret Sauce, I do a little bit of both. In the earlier episodes, I was making things that I knew and I liked or variations on them. Lately, I've been testing more out. I think it's kind of fun to test stuff out on stream. But I have to be careful. I really have to like read through the recipe a few times if it's something I've never made before to make sure that it's gonna work for a stream, because there's some dishes, it's a lot of waiting, and I think that would make for a really boring stream. So I'm trying to think of creative ways, like, all right, I want to do this dish, but if I do that, I should probably do a second one. So while the one is cooking, I can kind of prepare something else. And then that way, there's no like boring downtime. We're still being active and doing something else, as you would making your own dinner too, but hanging out with chat. You think spinach is, you hate spinach, but this looks good. You know, I've seen people, I made something with spinach before, I think. Or maybe I just put it on Discord and people are like, whoa, how do you season spinach? How do you, like, garlic for everything, man. Garlic, olive oil, salt, pepper. Then you can get creative. You could put some red pepper flakes. You could put, what else could you put? You could do an Asian style and you could put some sesame oil in it. Sesame seeds. Or what else? What's another way? Za'atar, you can use that as a spice. Dude, spinach is good. Would I have a website with all my recipes? So I have a website. I don't know if I have a command for it. Yeah, my website's in my social link. And somebody was asking something similar earlier. I could eventually, if you guys really wanted to, start archiving the different recipes. And recently I've been trying to have edits made of these streams and posting those to YouTube, so they're shorter versions of the cooking stream too. And the lemon. And the lemon. I do cook for my friends. I do. But it's not been easy lately. Mmm. Mmm. That's it. Ooh, look at that steam. Look at that steam. Oh, yes. Yum, yum, yum. And I know. We're just gonna do a little taste because it is 5:10 in the evening. And this is not my dinner time. And I don't want to get too full. So I'm just going to have a little taste test. Is that LA heat or steam? It is disgusting right now. No, I'm not putting knobs on these cabinets because this is not my dream kitchen. So why waste? It actually says, serve it in a shallow bowl. So you could serve this in something that you would put pasta in. If you have a pasta specific dish, I would put it in that. Unless you have like cute bowls. Cute shallow bowls, which I don't think I really have. Other than pasta bowls. And I'm not eating that much, so I'm not going to put it in a pasta bowl. And I'm going to take it off the heat though. And for the final touch, I need a little secret. So don't go anywhere. You don't get to see though. All right. Yeah, I can see why a shallow bowl would make a nicer presentation. Because like this, it kind of just does that. It doesn't look very pretty. So I get it. I get why. Of course, I have to take a picture for the socials, which I'm going to do on the other side. I want better light. And now, what you really want to know is how did it turn out? It looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. Do a Minecraft stream? Man, a lot of people have been asking me about Minecraft lately. And you know what? I never thought it would be a game I'd like just based on appearances. But as they say, never judge a book by its cover. And I was talking to a few people that were like, no, I think you'd like it. I really want to play Fall Guys. All right. So you can serve this with a salad. You can serve it with, what else does it say? Oh, bread. That's what I did. I did bread. But later tonight, I'm going to have this for dinner. And I will be having it with the salad. But you can just do like this. You can even, like, if you made a really small portion of this, you could even serve this as an appetizer instead of a main course. Oh my god. So good. Wow. Mmm. 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 Ugh. Dude. Definitely with the bread, it's amazing. Look at that. Look at that. The spinach is really nice. It's really nice. The texture of the spinach and the squid goes really, really good together. Mmm. 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 Wow. Wow. Unreal. Squid is a really good... Oh, I love squid, man. You can do squid so many different ways. I love Korean style squid with kimchi. But the way I typically do it is just with tomatoes and garlic and some other secret stuff. This is a new recipe. I've never tried it before. Squid with spinach, a recipe from Crete. Squid can go so many different ways. Mmm. Grilled. Of course, calamari. Fried. So squid is a switch, you say? Ah. Algo4 felt you. Thank you for the prime sub. Welcome to my stream. I don't remember if I thanked you. If I didn't, thank you. If I did, thanks again. Unreal. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. I do want to eat it all now. It's hard not to. Squid to onion ratio. Do I prefer cooking or having someone cook for me? I love cooking. I do love it. Especially when you try something new and it's a success like this. It's gratifying. I love cooking for friends. But of course, it's nice to be cooked for. Of course. Especially when you're tired. Mm. 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 Squidbillies was a pretty pog show. Now I'm sad. There was some cooking wine inside. Like, do you enjoy going to people's streams late and telling them what to do once they're already eating it? I encourage you to join next time. So put your notifications on and you can see the process. Mmm. Mmm. How much sugar is in this? Well, can anybody confirm whether or not there's any natural sugars in squid? I don't think so. Anything in the cooking wine got evaporated, so no sugar. Thank you, Nemsek. I'm glad you liked Gray Area last night with Sherry Cola. She was a great guest, super fun. Your packet of chips are more crunchy. Are you sure about that? Oh my goodness. Mmm. Mmm. What is it? It's just toasted bread, toasted in the oven, garlic, olive oil, salt. What kind of bread? It was probably an invention. It said Old World Italian. It looked good. It looked fresh. From a bakery. It was good. It was perfect for this. And it was pre sliced. What's for dessert? No time for dessert. Yeah. Tropical rain. G Fuel. Calamari pasta salad and garlic bread dipped with extra virgin olive oil. That sounds. What kind of pasta would you use? I would maybe do it with like orzo because they're tiny. But what would you do it with? That actually sounds good. The bakery you always go to just turned into a pawn shop. That sucks. Milk is confirmed by Illuminati. What? What is that? Those just sound like a random choice of words typed into your keyboard. Where's the feta? Well, yeah, that's right, George. I did want to make a Greek salad, but I didn't like the tomatoes at the store I was at, so I didn't do it. I have some rucola, which I'll have for dinner. Um, my tomatoes outside are still growing. But I might do for dinner, actually, a bulgur salad to go with this, because that's really quick and easy. It just won't have. I think I have like a couple. Yeah. I have like this many tomatoes left from last week, so it'll be just enough. Are you good at making quiche? You know what? I've never made a quiche. That would be a good recipe. It's a sharing one, though. That's something like I could eat it the day of. I could eat it once the next day, and then I'd be sick of it. So I definitely have to give it away. Game over for Caesar. This dude or girl, whoever. Hilarious. I still dream about one of the best quiches I ever had in Paris. Ugh. I can still see the place in my mind, too. Thanks for doing so many secret sauces lately. They're always great streams. Well, thank you for watching. I actually really love secret sauce. I love these cooking streams. But over the past couple of months, specifically, more than a couple months now, but over the past few months, I've learned a lot about these, and I need much more time to prepare than I realize. So I think on the weekends, that's one thing that I'm going to do. That way we could spend more time as well, because this is a really short one. But I'd like to get to a point where like we could do a dish like this. If it is a quick stream, I can continue by either like going to play games or making a salad, something like that. But yeah, today was a little stressful. A lot of logistics go into cooking shows. It's true, even if you're just doing it on your own like I am, there are a lot of logistics, a lot of things to think about, and to make sure that it's going to be good for a stream too. Because there's ideas I had where I was like, oh, that's cool. Nope, I would have to do 2 other dishes just to make it semi-interesting. Have I ever made chile relleno? I've made it once a long time ago. That's actually something I'd like to make again. Have I ever made tacos al pastor? Well, the real way with that pork and all that seasoning. I've, of course, never done it the real authentic way. I do mine in a knockoff way, which is I'll like slice the meat. I'll slice the meat up and I'll just season the hell out of it. And I'll cook it on the stove. And then I just get pineapple, cilantro, onions, some lime, and then my homemade salsa. And it hits the spot. It's pretty good, but it's a knockoff. I should actually look up a recipe on how to marinate it correctly. Or cook it, because I just do it on the pan. I'd like to find another technique. All right, you guys. So I hate to do this. Like I said, there's a lot of planning that goes into these cooking streams, and I'm getting better. I'm getting better at it. The next cooking stream will be a better day of streaming, whether that means that we spend more hours in the kitchen or whether that means we stop the cooking and go play games. We're going to get better at this. I'm going to get better at this. I'm also looking into different technology options to make that transition easier if I stop this and then go play games. So, cilantro. Anyways, I hate that this is so short. I hate that it's so short. But that being said, everybody, I have a meeting for tomorrow's episode of Gray Area. Our special guest is comedian Russell Peters. If you don't know who he is, how do you not know? I question you. He is hilarious. I feel like it's going to be his show tomorrow. It's going to be his show tomorrow. So we go live, Gray Area, me and Dumbfounded. Ven, watch Ven on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. And it's 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern. You guys are not going to want to miss this one tomorrow night. And of course, as always, please, 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 if you want to be part of Gray Area, you can send an email to askgrayarea@ven.tv, or you could join the Ven Discord, which Quad just spammed you in the link right there. And there's the email. So if you guys want to be on video, if you want to do an audio call just on the phone, whatever, if you want advice, if you have questions about anything, hit up the producers on the Discord or by email. We'd love to hear from everybody. We don't have a studio audience because of COVID, but basically the concept of the show is that we invite callers and we give advice as much as we can to our callers. So if you want to be a part of that, if you have a question about life, send an email to that email address or join the Discord, and you can also chat there with the producers and be part of the show. Okay, I really gotta go because now I'm late. So thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Secret Sauce. It was super, super fun. I will see everybody on Gray Area tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Pacific time on Watch Ven. And then I'll probably be back Saturday. Yes. All right. Thanks again, everybody. Don't forget to follow me on socials because I always announce a few minutes before I go live for my Twitch stream. So have a good one. See you tomorrow.